I am Anna Seewald, and this is Authentic Parenting, a podcast about personal development in the context of parenting, where I explore how you can find more calm, connection, and joy in parenting through the process of self-discovery and inner growth with a trauma-informed lens. I'm a parent educator, and my mission is to help children by helping parents. The motto of this podcast is raising our children, growing ourselves. Today, a short and sweet episode on how to stay calm in the moment. Parenting is an emotional job. Self-regulation, I think, has to be one of the most important skills that any parent can develop. I certainly have worked very hard on cultivating and improving my own skills. When we remain calm, present, and grounded during emotional situations with our children, then we can mindfully choose to respond instead of reacting. By taking a few moments before reacting to calm our nervous system is key in handling those difficult moments mindfully. When we are calmer, then we can choose our words more carefully, our tone of voice, and definitely we can act more compassionately. With time and practice, one can get so much better at staying calm by monitoring one's inner state, the shifting emotions, and deliberately responding with kindness. I have developed a 4-step formula called C.A.L.M to help parents in those emotionally charged moments. I was a guest on a podcast recently, and the host, Tracy, asked me to share the 4-step C.A.L.M formula with her audience. I thought I provided a very short and concise explanation, and I asked Tracy if I could share it on my podcast here with you. She graciously agreed. I hope you will find it helpful. There is a very popular Viktor Frankl quote that goes like this: "Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom." Please enjoy.
The way you think, Anna. The way you think. So can you tell us about, you have a 4-step C.A.L.M formula. What does that look like?
Yes, the 4-step C.A.L.M formula I created because there was a demand, right? I was teaching how to stop yelling at your kids or yelling less, let's say, because the goal is never to stop yelling, because if you aim for that, it's not going to help. So yelling less should be the aim, and you can notice your progress and feel good about yourself. So the 4-step, the C stands for compassion, the A stands for arousal assessment, L stands for language, and M stands for mindfulness. And I will go into detail into each step, but I want to preface that this is not a fixed formula. It's not like, do you do step 1, you do step 2, then you do 3. I made it into a 4-step formula because it helps people to grasp the concept.
Right.
And sometimes you may use only the C, the compassion element, and take care of your emotional triggers or when you're hijacked in the moment. Sometimes you can just use the mantra, the L component, the language, and sometimes all of it. And it's a fluid process. You don't have to do compassion first, then A first, then L first. You can change the position of the letters, but it makes sense to remember as calm. And what I recommend parents to do is, if they like the idea, maybe start with the first step. Practice for a while, just a compassion piece. And the C.A.L.M formula is handy when you're triggered in the moment. You don't do this ahead of time. You do this in the moment. Two siblings are fighting. You're about to enter into the room, into the scene. You need to do the CALM formula in order not to yell, in order to solve the situation more mindfully and reasonably. Or something else is happening. Your child is being defiant. There's lots of situations in everyone's household.
Right.
So this is in the moment sort of help to calm yourself so that you're not reactive in the moment. And it may tame you a little bit. You may not completely be like Zen, calm in the moment. And that is not the goal, because if you're highly triggered, going from point 10 to point 4 is still a huge gain, right?
Yeah, right.
So the compassion piece is in that moment when you see that you're being triggered, something is happening, that is emotional storm in your household or in yourself, you're getting triggered, your fight, flight, or freeze response is being activated. Again, that piece about self-awareness is key, because everybody knows when they feel like that, right? Your body temperature changes. You just want to kill someone, throw something, yell at someone. So that's the urge to act. That emotional storm is in you. In that moment, you want to pause for a moment, put your right hand on your heart, if this calls for you, and say to yourself something of, let's say, like I can use my own example. It's okay, Anna, this is a difficult moment, but you're going to be okay. Right. Two siblings are fighting. You can describe what you see in the moment. It's just my teen being very difficult right now, and I know I'm going to be all right. So offer yourself a little compassion. Right. You could put your right hand on your heart. You can give yourself a hug. You can press on your arms, just that you have a sense of body, a container. You can hold your cheeks in your hands. Something loving and compassionate. The touch element is huge because it comforts you. Yeah. Or you can touch your forearm back and forth, rub. It takes a couple of seconds, but just that switch has to happen in your mind. After the self-compassion element, then you assess your arousal level and the situation. Let's say on a scale of 1 to 5, how aroused am I? Okay. Because we tend to either overreact or underreact, right? In a lot of situations. Mostly we overreact when it comes to parenting things. Yes. So if the situation on a scale of 1 to 5 is 3, don't be overreactive. There's no need to scream and yell and act as if it's 5. It's not an emergency. So when you assess the arousal that you're going through, your body temperature, the tension in your throat, the knot in your stomach, you pay attention to the body sensations in this step. But when you engage your mind to assess your arousal level, scale of 1 to 5, I'm 2.5, so it's not so bad. You say that to yourself. Right. It's comforting. You're engaging your prefrontal cortex. And when you do that, you're coming out of your emotional brain into your thinking brain. Right. So now you're 2 steps ahead of the game. You are a lot calmer at this point. You can also assess the situation in the environment. Let's say 2 siblings are fighting. I mean, is this life and death? Like, is this on a scale of 1 to 5? It's a common occurrence. It's 2. Yeah. So calm down. You also assess that. And the third step is the language, the L, which I encourage people to do ahead of time. My go-to is, this is not an emergency, or I am helping my child.
Oh, nice. That is beautiful. I love that. It's not it's kind of taking it off of yourself. It's not about you. It's about helping. Oh, I love that.
Because it is not about me, right? In reality, I need to be prepared and regulated, even though it feels like I am under attack because something outside of my control is happening in my home. My kid is not listening. Siblings are fighting. My child is throwing something. So it feels personal. But if you switch that and you're the grown up, you're the mature one, and you're regulating yourself so that you can be present for your child.
Right.
The L has to be cultivated ahead of time, like that little saying, that little mantra. You can adopt mine and use it. I'm helping my child. My clients use it. It helps them a lot. Some people, everybody can say something, whatever works for them. Or this is not an emergency. Whew, this is not an emergency. Like repeat that to yourself in your mind. So compassion, arousal assessment, language piece, and now mindfulness piece. The mindfulness piece is engage your senses in the moment. Feel the heaviness of your body on the ground. The ground is pulling you. Smell 3 smells in the environment. Can you detect in the environment 3 sounds that are right there present? Can you see something rectangular, 3 objects? Can you see something yellow, 3 things in your environment? Again, depending what kind of a person you are, I'm an auditory person. For me, it's a lot easier to pay attention to sounds. Some person might be more visual. So you need to practice that, right? Because the mindfulness piece, when you engage your senses, you come into the present moment.
Yeah.
And all the steps are geared towards bringing us into the present moment, coming out of the reactivity into the more regulated state of mind so that we can be more reasonable and say, what's going on, guys? I see you are arguing, instead of, what are you doing?
Right. Exactly.
There's a big difference. So there you have it, the C.A.L.M formula. As I said, it's very fluid. You may do it all at once in your mind. You may engage your senses right away. You may just say your mantra and bring you into the present moment, whatever works for each person. But I think it's worth paying attention to each step and practicing being in your body, assessing the arousal. For example, for 1 week, maybe practice assessing your arousal level and your children's assess whatever is happening in the environment. Pay attention to that and take notes in your journal. Most of the time, it's not an emergency. It's rarely a life and death situation. So why are you overreacting, right?
Right. Exactly. I love that. I love that method. I really love the putting your hand on your heart or putting your hand on your body. That is because and I know that I'm not alone, but when I'm feeling that anger or the frustration or the overwhelm or whatever it is, I tend to feel like I'm not of my body. I feel like I'm not grounded. I'm not of this earth in an interesting way. But I love that. And I've been doing yoga for almost 30 years. So I love to embody a concept. I love the touching. I love, especially the heart. It's a very loving, compassionate gesture to yourself, and it's grounding as well. It's keeping you, it's keeping you in your body, in your present moment. I really, really love this method, the C.A.L.M method. It's beautiful.
And they all have the body component, right? The M, mindfulness, you're engaging your senses. Again, the L, you're engaging your brain. But the A, you're assessing your bodily sensations, your arousal level. The compassion piece is, again, your body. So it all has to do with calming your nervous system down, which is your body, basically. Paying attention, being with it, and comforting yourself so that you can be of help to a child who is completely dysregulated in the moment too.
Yeah, two amygdalas going at each other, that doesn't really end well.
That's it for this somewhat unusual episode. I really hope you found the 4-step C.A.L.M formula helpful, and my explanation was clear enough for you to start practicing it. If you give it a try, please let me know how you like it and whether it works for you. Join your fellow listeners from around the world in our private Facebook group, the Authentic Parenting Community, a positive and supportive space for conscious moms and dads. generate conversations, ask questions, discuss the episodes, take part in our monthly book club, and be part of the community. I continue offering my weekly pandemic support calls. They are free and open for everyone. I post the link and the info in our Facebook group. If you're not on Facebook or in our group, but are interested in the support group, then sign up for my newsletter on my website to receive notifications and announcements, just to keep up to date about the calls and the podcast in general. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast so you won't miss new episodes. Also, take a moment to rate and review it on Apple Podcasts. Until next week, connect to the present moment, to yourself and your children. I am Anna Seewald. Thank you so much for listening.